Morning. Thank you for joining us on the Friday edition of TVC Breakfast. I am Veronica Dan Ikboy. Joining me this morning is Ibrahim Shita. Ibrahim, good morning.
Veronica,
Thank God it's Friday.
The
weekend is here. Well, we have an array of issues we will be looking at today. We'll be looking at the discovery made by the EFCC saying that a religious organization was, has been found culpable of money laundering. And then another matter that we'll be looking at is the CBN's intervention and how it's calling out deposit money banks and their practices, sharp practices, as some would put it. And then we'll also look at the BDCs saying they are closing shop. And that's where we'll begin this morning. As the foreign exchange crisis in the country bites harder, Euro de change operators in the nation's capital have been forced to shut down operations. The BDCs closed shop from Thursday, February the 1st, over the scarcity of the US dollar. This week, the Naira reached an all-time low, exchanging for over 1,400 on Tuesday on the Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange window, and even crossing 1,500 Naira against the dollar on the street market. This development comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria rallies to get the situation under control. The CBN, in the bid to regain the strength of the Nigerian currency, ordered commercial banks to sell off their excess dollar stock by February the 1st, 2024. That was yesterday. And I think I saw a headline where some commercial banks were saying that they were not selling their dollars, so to speak. The situation is still the same as it is, despite efforts made by the CBN to intervene and defend the Naira. We recall that the CBN released about $500 million sometime within the week to also address this matter, but that hasn't changed the status of the Naira. We're still seeing efforts being made. Well, the National Assembly has summoned the CBN governor to come and talk to them about the efforts being made to defend the Naira, and that is supposed to come up next week, Tuesday. So Nigerians are waiting with bated breath to hear what the outcome of that meeting will be.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's really been very tough, rough and tough, for the CBN governor since he assumed office. Before he came into office, everything seems to be going on a downward trend, especially with the situation of the Naira against the dollar. So it just appears that some people are really bent on ensuring that this economy doesn't work. Because I'm not sure the reason why some people would want to hold the dollar, and these same people will still go out to the market and be shouting up and down that the Naira is very bad against the dollar, but then their own activities.
They're speculators
really,
now.
Exactly, highly speculating. So we're causing a lot of damage to our economy. So, but one thing is that the BDC is saying that they're shutting down. I know their chairman, the president, Aminu Gwadabe, said that that there is a way that they go about these things, that they can't just wake up in the morning and say they're shutting down. That they are regulated. They are what's it called? What's it called?
License.
The practice is actually being regulated.
Right.
So there is a way they're actually supposed to go about it, before they decide to say they want to shut down. Because at the end of the day, it's as if that they are still hurting themselves. So because the Naira is going up and they feel, no, we don't have enough Naira, everything is just tumbling. And then the next thing is, you can't say because the business, everything is going the other way, and then the next thing is that you want to close shop. You will still be the one to suffer, the losses at the end of the day. But then one of the analysts, said that there will be no future for Nigeria if it fails to start addressing the exchange rate problem. He said the solutions range from immediate to long-term strategies aimed at boosting the economy. So now talking about crude oil in Nigeria today account for 70%, and of the receipts in terms of foreign exchange receipts to Nigeria, most of the monies that we receive from crude oil through domestic crude allocation, such purchases have been in Naira. Meanwhile, the crude oil, the crude oil business is an international business. So it's very important for us to say that if you must lift the liter, for instance, of crude oil in Nigeria, all receipt must be done in foreign currency. And this definitely, is a short term that will boost the Nigerian economy. So the forex inflow to Nigeria rather. So and in turn affect have a positive impact on the Nigeria's economy. So all of these things, I just believe that we all have to, come to a round table and make sure that we do things that would definitely help the situation of this country, because no matter what it is, it affects you and I.
It's affecting everything as we speak right now, because the cost of item keeps increasing as the Naira faces a downward trend, so to speak. But efforts being made. We've always hinged this matter on, because I recall we had the conversation around this same topic sometime last week, and the expert was talking about the fact that, you see, as long as we are import-driven, we will keep facing this issue until we begin to look at how we can export and then create an environment that is conducive for businesses to thrive, so that we see investors, whether portfolio, whichever kinds of investors, they see that Nigeria is viable enough, Nigeria is safe enough for them to invest their monies. They would want to come with these monies. But then until that begins to happen, as much, whatever the effort we put in might just be temporary until we begin to export, where we see that we are making so much money in terms of production and then exporting. Then we can then attract investors. We can begin to talk about ensuring the stability of the Naira. Any other effort is just temporary. And the security issues as well. How are we dealing with that? It's a critical matter, because at some point we were talking about diversifying the economy, looking into agriculture to ensure that we create that enabling environment for those in that sector to thrive. But we see what's going on in major parts of the country that we call food baskets of the nation. See, Benue State, for instance, the Plateau State, for instance, security issues. Farmers can't go to the farm. And so until we begin to deal with these fundamental issues, a whole lot that we are doing is just treating the symptom as against the dealing with the core.
Yeah, that's right. I love the perspective you brought into it, talking about having a lot of production, because we've got fertile soil. Go to virtually anywhere in this country.
Mineral resources
and all of that. So we can always, look inward, look at what we can produce, because it doesn't really make sense when we have lots and lots of palm kernel, and then we still go ahead to import finished palm oil, from other countries. It's an eyesore. It doesn't make sense. Toothpick and some other things. Nigeria imports a lot. We import a lot. In fact, if it's possible for us to import our teeth, if one is out of it, I'm not even sure whether they even import that one too, But all of these things, even the lenses that we use, you hear some of these opticians saying that they will need to import some of these lenses into the country, so many things. But then if we look into what are the things that we can produce, now oil, the entire world is now moving away from, the crude oil, little by little, they're talking about renewable energy and all of that. At a point in time, the oil will no longer serve us. So we need to diversify, look into agriculture. We have human resources, and then we are still training them and leaving the shores of this country. There's so many other areas we can look into to help this economy, to help this economy stand in a very strong pedestal.
Absolutely. And we can also look at technology, for instance. That's right. There's so much monies in that space that we can explore. We know a lot of young persons who are in that space that are doing great things. How can we do more? I recall the president is also looking at a target of 1 million jobs in that sector. And I am hoping that we're looking at getting the much we can get out of that sector. Talking about mineral resource, we recall what happened in Ibadan, for instance. And you see, the conversation has begun to, channel towards that aspect where people are saying it is high time we begin to look at how states can manage the resources. And then ensure that, they channel this money back to the federal government. We see people coming into the country to exploit and explore these resources. How do they get in? Who are those supporting them? These monies are supposed to get into the coffers of the federal government, but no, it's not coming in for Nigeria and Nigerians. We need to begin to explore these areas, these loopholes that we have had over the years. What should we do? We need to amend the constitution to ensure that what is done, and then we can manage what is ours appropriately, because the nation as it is, so many things are going on, and that is why we have a huge chunk of young persons living the country. I still saw someone who just left the country, and I know how resourceful she is. So it's a lot that the president has to deal with. He says he wants to industrialize the country. These are the issues that we need to deal with, especially matters of security, where people can feel safe and know that their businesses will thrive. Electricity is also another issue.
Paramount.
Very, very, very paramount as it is. What Nigerians want is not much. They just want an enabling environment for their businesses to thrive, and every other business that we see live in the country, that's just all they need. Government needs to do all it has to do to ensure Nigeria works as it is.
There is no way we can achieve all of these things without fighting corruption.
Absolutely.
You know, this part of what we'll be discussing in the course of the program, because corruption is something that, you know, is the same thing you see in the exchange rates, the exchange rate system, the same thing you see in all facets of our dealings in this country. So if that is taken out of the way, I guess, you know, we're good for it.
Absolutely. We'll leave the conversation here now and quickly bring you the news.